Hello, gang. Welcome to Sketching with Izzy. Just starting up a little early today. No biggie. Some critter we painted yesterday, or the last time we all hung out. We're not going to do any more on this. This guy's done. I haven't posted it yet, but we will post it shortly. I've been pretty bad about that. Avid, Gray Voices, welcome both of you. Glad to see you on. Let's grab a color from here so we're not working in a vacuum. Let's fill. Ooh, I don't want that color. What are y'all working on these days? We'll warm it up. Tom, welcome. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you on. You're on time. Gray Voices, nice. Yeah, I hope you guys are all doing well. Not sure what I'll paint. It's going to be kind of a random thing. I did my standard sort of flipping through a bunch of images really fast. Don't really know what's going to come to mind, but something usually does. That's what we do in here. We just trust. Trust that we'll get there. And when in doubt, foreskin. Just draw foreskin. Yep, we're starting strong today. You're working on a WotC sample art of a character with vitiligo, but instead of white, it's gold and wearing lots of heavy fabrics. That's really cool. That's awesome. It's a good idea. It'll be a fun, like a planeswalker type character. Very fresh. Tom's existing, working on tearing a hole in time-space to escape doing laundry. Well, if you don't manage to destroy all of existence for us, you want to do my laundry too, because I've been avoiding it as well. Let's rotate this canvas. Let's do a little more profile style. Hole in time space seems easier than getting those stains out. Yeah. Oh no, Tom. That doesn't go in clothes. Yesterday you spent all day putting together the standing desk. Oh, nice. Is it all finished up? Post your workspace in the Discord. I want to see what that looks like. That's pretty cool. Okay, that doesn't usually happen. Start liking a shape right away. I'll take it. Been having fun on the day job. I'm designing the main character for our game, and it's been pretty damn productive week. Making lots of decisions. I definitely don't want to do another bug, as we just did a little buggy. But I think... I don't know. I'm kind of feeling a little bit frowed. Little Sorry, damn, just hit the mic real hard. Dark crystally, I think. So I don't know what this will be, but it's definitely going to be kind of in that vein. Let's get the scale working. Something there, maybe. Kind of a simple shape. I'm definitely in character design mode today, I can tell you that. Just fully raring to go on that front. Kilrathi, greetings, welcome. Irina, good to see you on. Yeah, Dusty. Everything is dust. We just had the filter changed in the central air unit here in the place I'm living, and even after that was done, there's still tons of dust kicking through. Always worrisome when you've got a computer like this, a temperamental little bitch. Sorry, I was expecting it to blue screen because I cursed its name. Again, bloody thing. But yeah, I've seen on the intake already loads of dust. Now we just did, although our Martian died, I just did hands like that, so I don't want to do that right now. I try to vary it up a little bit. You know. The Kruth Mad. Thank you for the follow. Welcome. Glad you could join today. I don't know what's happening here, but I'm just following the muse. Make a new layer. We'll leave that sketch just in case, you know, I end up making some change that I don't like. I usually will switch to a new layer if, you know, I've found something that's working. Oops. I generally like to, in the early sketch stage, I like to do it all in one and just kind of be really rough and not precious about it, but I think I found something I like there. We'll see what happens. No promises. I want to get an idea of what I'm doing as fast as possible. If I can get like kind of a rough sort of composition and a direction with the design in the first 5-6 minutes, that's good. Good time well spent. And then I want to get my values kind of locked in and at least some kind of lighting in the first half hour, 45 minutes. And then I can trust that I'll be able to have some kind of painting in a couple of hours. That's the pacing I like to try when I'm, you know, kind of in the zone. And as I go, I'm letting the sketch kind of dictate designs and shapes. It gives me ideas. It's like seeing shapes in the clouds, you know? Like this would be a sufficient thumbnail for me to see if I had an artist working for me on something. There's enough here to tell me what's going on. You had your interview. That's great, Arena. No news on that though, huh? That's okay. No news is good news. Yeah, keep us posted, please do. Why does the music sound spooky? Because it's the music. It's random. It's completely randomized. It's not by design. Day one, welcome. I think we're gonna do kind of a character creature thing. Yeah, I mean, it's what I do. Let's do a quick. I want to do a glazing layer and kind of unify my values. Figure out what my lighting's gonna look like. I want to get into a little bit of color here. I always like to try and show you guys different ways to get around to do the same thing, hoping that, it'll inspire you to try different things. So I've shown you a lot of the kind of quick ways I'll do a sketch, start things out, but I want to keep it as varied as possible, just so that, one, it's good for me to practice different ways of doing things, so I'm still staying sharp. And then also just to show you different ways to handle these similar subjects, like different approaches. I think that's helpful. So before we did the last one, this guy right here, we went from straight black and white, really rough sketch, painted it up to about 75% in just grayscale, and then added color. And this one, we're doing it completely different. Well, painting's painting, but we're going straight into color in the figuring out our values phase. And it's just to get kind of a different effect. I think we're going to get something a little more airy, less solid out of this one. And that's okay. I think that something ethereal, wraith-like kind of fits what I've drawn so far. Like maybe this is some kind of wraith king, some undead creature wandering the halls of his long dead kingdom. They feel positive but not confirmed. Okay. Well, that's still pretty good, I think. It's an in-house art job, right? We talked about that last time you were on. Toyina, welcome. I forgot how to pronounce your name again. Sorry about that. So were the questions like you expected? Yeah, Irina, how did that go? It was all real and down to the point, more about practicalities and how they work. Enjoyed their openness. That's great. One of the ways that I find to kind of disarm with interviews is to treat it like you're interviewing them. Like trying to figure out if they're good enough for you. It takes some of that pressure off, and then also can kind of, so it'll change how you behave a little bit, but also it'll help you kind of ask questions and take charge and kind of own the space a little bit. It's a good way to try to approach it. Toyina? Okay, cool. You'd be working remotely for an art company in the US? Awesome! Hey, that's great. Let's do a new layer. You wonder if the interviewers know those tricks too? Totally they do. And I think interviewers enjoy when, somebody comes in and, having been an interviewer and a person hiring, when a person comes in and they're confident and they feel good and they're interested, engaged, they're asking questions, they want to know about, the community and the company, that sort of thing. That's a great experience as an interviewer. I think I'll leave this dark. Maybe some kind of dark fire there. I don't know. We'll suss that out later. Let's get a little bit of line work in here. Save. Dan Rob, welcome. Maybe they can call you out when you start interviewing them. Yeah, that's still totally fine. It's a communication, it's a back and forth. Really, that is what's happening. When you're doing an interview, they're interviewing you to see if you're going to be a good fit for the company, but you should absolutely be checking them out and confirming that they're going to be a good fit for you, because we are talking about a long-term relationship that you're planning out. You wouldn't go on a date and just have a person ask about you and not know anything about them, right? Any given interview will probably hold way more interviews than a given employee. You think the employers, at least a good one, do value inquisitiveness? Yeah, I think that's true too. You feel the interview drained you, though. You're stressed now? Oh, I'm sorry, Rena. It's just do something else completely. Just paint something for fun. Do something else to take your mind off of it. Get completely engaged in something. They're interested in positive, and we'll confirm. Yeah. Credibad, welcome. Okay. We are lining. You know what? Instead of lining yet, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump ahead and I'm just going to start lighting. We're going to mix this up. I'm going to see what we can get here. Let's do a screen layer real quick. And let's get a little bit bold. I think this light from the window will be kind of a bluish evening light. That might be too desaturated. Let's try a little more. And I want this flame to be black. So I've got the textures laid down in the initial sketch, and now it's just rounds. I'm using an elliptical round for an eraser and a bold, opaque, hard-edged one for the brush. Just trying this out. See how it looks. Got my trusty smudge. This is going to be a sort of a little micro composition here. This window pane with this guy's little head or whatever that thing is or will be. Okay, so now that I have that light coming through, we've got an established light source. Yeah, we're definitely rooting for you, Arena. Do I stop to use the smudge later in the painting? Do I stop using the smudge later in the painting? No, not really. I mean, if it's a point in which I need to soften an edge, then I'm going to use a smudge brush. It's definitely not dependent on any timing in the painting or anything like that. It's all case by case needs based. It's a taint eater. That's wrong. Is this piece part of another series? No, this is just some ridiculous thing that just started evolving. Toyina. Looks like from Beauty and the Beast to you somehow. The Beast. Nice. Yeah, I think once I started seeing the shapes in it, it started feeling like something kind of Brian Froud, dark crystal-y to me, but I didn't want to do something specifically that. So we're going to see where it takes us. Donkers. You're guessing this drawing was started 5 minutes ago? No, this drawing has been going for about 20 minutes? About 20 minutes or so. You're asking about the smudge because in the last critique I told you some parts of the hair looked like you used a smudge. Maybe you should hide it better. Basically, if you're using a smudge to make hair, that's not the same thing as using a smudge to soften an edge. They're two very different things. So if you're creating a hair texture using the smudge, then what you're going to get is something that feels really digital. Trying to think about... Okay, let me see if I can just show you. Maybe that would be better. So we've got hair. Now, it would be one thing. Let me switch out my smudge brush. It would be one thing to kind of drag out the hair. This is a terrible one. Let's just do a normal round. Hopefully this does not crash my computer. If it does, this is entirely your fault, Irina. I just want you to know. I'm kidding. But by dragging the hair out like this, to get the effect of that featheriness and softness in the hair, what it does is it just kind of creates an airy, undefined look. Whereas I think it would be better to imply that with brushwork instead. So this is, I mean, this works technically, but to me it tends to look like it's like you're not confident in your brushes. You're not confident in your strokes. So what I would recommend instead is getting a decent kind of liner style brush that maybe has nice broken edges instead. At the bare minimum, I would use this on top of doing that smudge thing, but using the smudge thing just to imply motion on its own, it doesn't work. It looks like a shortcut that doesn't read very well. Does that make sense what I'm saying? I don't know. Blood flowers on hold. Like I said, once I started doing the full-time job, I had to put blood flower on the back burner. It's still there, but I mean, that does happen. It's easier for me to treat this right now as a kind of just a portfolio generator and just make fun characters and creatures and things like that. It's a little bit more engaging. If there's genuine interest for Bloodflower going into the future, I'll definitely continue to make stuff for it. Okay, so you may have noticed we did a draw through for the light coming from the window. Let's go ahead and lean into that. I didn't intend to do this, but let's see what it looks like. Oops, now I got that damn smudge I don't like. I like scatter smudging myself. To each their own, of course. Is this a rat in a blanket? Sure, why not? It's the ghosty undead king. Lazy, how goes? Welcome. Hopefully you got a little bit of rest since the last time we chatted. It's still keeping you awake? Oh, man. You got another crit tomorrow? Jesus. The grind never ends. Time machine. You see I'm using Photoshop. Yes. I have no view on Clip Studio. I've never tried it. So I just use Photoshop. I used to use a Painter back in the day, but I'd say the two programs that I've used the most in the last couple of years are Photoshop, of course, and Procreate. Why is there some kind of drama happening between Clip Studio and Photoshop? Is there a gang battle happening? No battle, just got a review from another artist. He liked it much better than Photoshop. Really? Huh. Hope work is going well. Bet I'm overclocking. No, it's been pretty chill. I've been doing. I've cut down on freelance significantly since doing the full time job, just so that I can have some semblance of a life. But it's been pretty good. The focus with doing the day job, because I'm an art director now, it has been a lot less of painting, which is great, because then this is kind of like my relaxing chill time. I get to hang out with you guys, chat, and paint some silly shit, which is how I always loved to do painting. And when you're doing anything for a job, we've talked about this before, but when you're doing anything for a job, man, it can wear you out. You get jaded, you get burnt out on that sort of thing. But the cool thing is that once I got a break from having to do that as a living, then it was fun to do again. So yeah, the main day job is a lot of meetings right now. We're planning out the pitch for this new game. We'll be doing the pitch hopefully pretty soon. But the creative director, who's a pretty great guy, he's just had a baby. I mean, like literally a couple days ago or yesterday, he had his baby, and it's his first. So I'm basically just heading up trying to get that pitch as far as we can get it without a designer on the project. But I know that he's working in the background. You know, he's like me. He's one of those people. Just there's always work going on in the head. So yeah, it's good. I'm digging it. I'm really enjoying the creative freedom that I have been cultivating. You know, when I went off on my own to go and live on the boat and go kind of do my own thing, it was with the expectation that I would be sort of my own master. And in a lot of ways, this studio has been so good about letting me do that still. And so I decide what I want to do when I want to do it, and it's all towards a specific goal, which is great. But yeah, the day job's going awesome so far. Zero issues there. The first software to 270 votes wins. Oh God, no. We're here to avoid stress for the moment, my friend. You think it all comes down to what you're used to? Yeah, it's true. You can learn new tools. For me, it's not just the tools that you're used to, but the tools that tend to be the most conducive to making whatever it is you're making. That's why I was an happy adopter of Procreate, because I feel like Procreate took a lot of the problems that I think Photoshop inherently has with that. It's got such a steep learning curve. It's so macro dependent. They basically made it really, really intuitive for a person that's working there, you know, with their hands without a keyboard. So all of the shortcuts and everything can be done with gestures. I love that. I love what they did with that. So there's a few things that I couldn't do. I think they've actually since remedied this. I just haven't used Procreate in a while. But there were a few things that I could only do in Photoshop. You know, transforming, warp. I know that they have all of that stuff now. So I foresee that as long as Procreate keeps evolving, and they're so good about improving and making their app accessible to artists, they're going to always be a consistent competitor, I think, for Photoshop, for artists that do what we're doing in here. Your pressure sensitivity on Procreate has been acting up. You've been having to press super hard. How long have you had your pen? Maybe you need to change the nib on the pen, the Apple Pen. Years ago, Photoshop didn't have a brush stabilizer option, so Clip Studio was way better. Are you talking about that lazy Nezumi thing? Yeah, I guess that's true. I've never used the lazy Nezumi. I tend to just draw freehand in Photoshop. I think that's just from practice, though, drawing a whole bunch of stuff with a pen, you know, doing the dynamic sketching, things like that. I didn't really bother with really sort of soft sketchiness. It's always like real hard decision making on the spot. And Lazy Nezumi kind of lets you go past that. There's Lazy Nezumi in Photoshop. Nice. Been playing with the pressure curve, but it's so inconsistent. I would see if you're having the same issue in another drawing program. Just get one of the other free drawing programs and try it out. And if you're having the same issue, then it's not the pressure curve, it's the pen. That's the easiest way to test it. Maybe try the pen on somebody else's iPad. You're gonna have to try Procreate more. Yeah, yeah. Hi, Cypher. Procreate's a small miracle. I love Procreate, man. I think it's more than a small miracle. I think that they sat down and examined what Photoshop needed and then delivered it on with something that you can just use gestures for hands. It's awesome. Lazy Nozumi has a lot more features than just smoothing. I'm sure it does. You had to order a new pen when you were having the problem on your Huion, and that fixed it? Oh, it was a pen. Okay. Yeah, I don't have the new Photoshops, so I don't have Lazy Nozumi on it. Mine's a CS6. Let us add some lights real quick. I think I might ease up on some of these blacks just a touch. Lower the opacity. I don't want to lose that kind of transparency thing I've got going on too much. So now the real overlap will be my lights, because that is how I want this particular transparency to work. Got this light source in the distance. It's a bit warmer than everything else. Let's see if we can kind of keep that. I want to do some inky stuff. Yeah. Yep. Yay, Streamlabs finally actually did something useful. Blocking out some spam, baby. Let's go brighter. A little less saturated. One of the things I love about Procreate that I realized I'm kind of emulating right now is the brushes are a little less perfect. They're just, there's a little tiny bit of fun randomization that happens with the textures that lets you kind of be, for me anyway, I get to be a little bit less AR about how a stroke might look. And it feels more like real traditional painting in that respect, where you're just kind of like throwing down some lines and you just deal with it. You try and work with what you've got. I'll figure out that part later, I think. Is this character a ghost or something? Yes, I think so. We'll see. We'll see where it takes us. I may abandon that direction. Right style, welcome. Glad you could join. Inky Stuffs. Yep. Can't wait to try Procreate one day. Absolutely. I think you'll really like it, Arena. The key is just giving up, you know, about 20% of the control and just letting things happen. It's so fun. They keep adding features to Procreate. Yeah, once you buy it, you basically have an unlimited license. So every update that they do, you get, even the full versions. And it's so cool. I can't recommend them enough. They test things properly. They ship solid features. Yeah, and I've had very few kind of errors with them. What are my favorite features? Or you're probably asking Nil. If you haven't tried it, Infinite Painter on the iPad is really good too. I tried the Infinite Painter a little bit. I didn't like it as much. It felt more like Photoshop. Yeah, maybe more powerful, but certainly not streamlined and artist friendly. You haven't got an iPad? That's all right. You can pick up a used Pro now, probably half of what it originally cost. Like I'm using an old iPad Pro. I'm not even using a new one. I'm using one of the first generation ones, and they're still supporting Procreate on that. So it's a worthwhile investment if you plan to use it for your part of your pipeline as well. I completely overhauled the brush engine, for example, and now you can import ABR brush packs from Photoshop. Yes, you can do those imports, and I did import this brush set to my Procreate, and it does work for the most part, but it is a little bit janky. It requires, you got to finesse them a little bit. You love that Procreate has crashed on you twice, and of those 2 crashes, you lost about 2 brush strokes each. Oh yeah. Procreate remembers. This is true. All right, so I've made some pretty opaque stuff here. Come back in and just knock it back just a touch. I'm only knocking this back because it's going to give me more room to draw it back forward again using different values. Let's do a new layer. This is going to be the tough one because I want to show the transparency of light coming through our object. But at the same time, I want to do a bounce light. Or not a bounce light, but a fill light. So that fill light maybe can't be cool. That's definitely not it. We're not doing that. Let's drop the saturation. Get my little lisp going on. See how it's kind of filling out. Look at it from a distance. Check my messages. The base iPad also works with the Apple Pencil. You can get one for very cheap. I did not know that. It's not as good. You don't have so many layers, but it's the full Procreate experience. Huh. Good to know, Gray Voices. Thank you. I'm just assembling uncomfortable formations of shapes right now, thinking about like discomfort, creepiness. So things that shapes and sort of and arrangements of lines and rhythms on a face that are just not natural feeling will give us the effect of a monster or something that's terribly wrong here. But knowing me, I'll also make it slightly cute. That's just how I do things. Which I think is kind of a Brian Froud thing too. So, fitting. Uneven patterns, things like that. One of my earrings fell out and I didn't even notice it. These things happen. How have I been doing? I've been doing pretty good. No complaints. Staying busy, that's the big thing. How depraved is Izzy? I like it. Idea for meta painting: a cute, gross monster paints Izzy on a stream. The tiny crown is what's doing it? Awesome. So here's a fun little aside. When you're doing creatures and characters, one of the ways to dehumanize them is to get rid of pupils. And if you want to humanize them, add pupils. But if you mess with that relationship in an interesting way, you can create some highly unsettling figures. Gonna have to leave earlier today, Irina. No worries. Thanks for joining us. I know it's late. Horizontal goat pupils are good. I think they tend to just go one direction though. They just look... They work. They just they're almost the equivalent of not having pupils. They just make it unhuman. And what I'm looking for is unsettling. So I have, I did a sort of fan painting of, I think his name's Beksinski, and I love how he paints these kind of horrifying eyes, and I actually used it as one of my emotes here. There you go, so you guys can see what it looks like. So that's actually a painting of mine, that emote, and the way he painted the eyes totally works for how they're super creepy, because what he did is, instead of painting the irises, because your iris is actually like a concavity inside of the eye, right? So check this out. When you're painting an eye, you have your eyeball, and then you have the iris, right? And then the pupil inside. So when you have light coming to hit it, right, what you see is, because this surface, if we were to draw this in kind of 3 dimensions, right, this surface is concave. It comes in like this. You see that? So according to our first 3 rules of light, because the light is above in this case, the top part of that concavity is going to be in shadow, and the bottom part's going to be lit, right, in our pupils here. And then you add in your specular up top, if you so choose. Add in your pretty colors, boop, 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 and you've got an eye, right? Well, what he did is he inversed that. So it doesn't look like a jewel with his. It looks like a flat plastic surface. Because what he did is, instead of having that concavity, he paints it so you have your iris here, the pupils inside, and he does the shadow on the bottom and the light on the top. And this is how it would be if this were just a ball, right? And it's so effective, you don't even really notice that he's done it. And then he adds the specular on top like that. And it looks wrong, it looks dead, like really unpleasantly. So, and yeah, so that little tiny bit right there that shows us that there's a divot where shadow is pooling is a huge part of what makes eyes feel kind of natural and filled with depth and windows to the soul and all that horse shit. But that's also, I have this personal, I guess, creep out. I really am uncomfortable around people that wear full color contacts, full color contacts that cover the eye, because they do this. And that's how you can always tell when somebody's wearing contacts, especially full color ones, is because the light will behave differently. Instead of having the shadow pooling underneath where you can see the concavity, it will be dark on the bottom and light on the top. And it creeps the shit out of me. I did have a student once, I think, get really upset at me for posting that shit creeps me out a while ago, because she's really into them. But, you know, it's just personal. Everybody's got their own weird things, right? You would have loved to spend a day inside Beksinski's head. Yeah. New universe-sized Death Star for episode 10. Yes, Dan Rob, that's exactly it. That's why I find them highly uncomfortable. I can't look at a person, or I struggle to look at a person that is wearing really obvious contacts like that. But now you understand what I'm doing here. Yeah. Got all my brushes mixed up there. Okay. That's why Yennefer's eyes look great in the series, and Geralt's look weird because the actress couldn't wear contacts and they CG'd the violet in. That's precisely why. Biggest pet peeve in the whole series was the lenses. In one of Anthony Jones' class, to prove to a student that brushes don't matter, AJ made a brush out of a toilet shape and painted his demo using just that brush. Have I ever tried something like that just for shits and giggles? Sure. I mean, it's true. I've consistently said that it's not the brushes that really make the painting. It's understanding the logic of light and color. Not sold on anything I added there. I think just rough was better. Since I'm liking the lights I already have, I think maybe it's more about getting the darks in. It's not the boat, but the motion of the ocean, yeah. You can record that, Gray Voices. We'll use it. You have a real problem drawing standing figures. Body cannot connect to the legs, don't connect to the floor. Start with the feet and go up instead. Izzy, too quiet, need more talkie. Thoughts on cardboard pants? Cardboard pants? I don't think I have any thoughts on cardboard pants. What thoughts would you recommend on that one? I fear them. I don't imagine they taste very good. Those sorts of thoughts? No. Too random. It's just too random. Don't even know what to think about that. Wait, you don't eat pants? I think you're doing it wrong. I'm pretty sure. All signs point to you doing it wrong. Absolutely eat the pants. Corduroy is the thing. Zip zip pants that zip as you walk. Whoop 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 whoop. Cereal tastes like cardboard. Yeah, there's certainly some pretty questionable cereals out there. I remember even as a child, I always had a love-hate relationship with the marshmallows in marshmallow-based cereals. You know, your Lucky Charms, your Marshmallow Mateys, which is all I could ever eat. I was a malto meal bag cereal eater as a kid. So it wasn't. I never got a box of Lucky Charms. It was always marshmallow mateys, and they were disgusting. They always felt like, just even thinking about that chalky like grind against your teeth right now, it's making my skin crawl. We used to eat, I think Tom no, maybe not. We used to eat bags of this stuff called Cocoa Krispies. And, or no, sorry, it was Cocoa Roos. Cocoa Roos was the malto meal version of Cocoa Pebbles, I think, or no. Oh God, what were the Cocoa Puffs? It was Cocoa Puffs. It was a version of Cocoa Puffs. And the way they made them, they were these little balls of like malted cereal that were chocolate flavored, and they were super dense. So when you ate them, they would just carve up your gums like so bad. So we would eat them, and you would just have like bloody teeth on top of the chocolate awfulness. So in order to eat them, we had to let them sit. It was like kind of, a 10-minute sit and soak in the milk so that they'd be soft enough to eat. Oh, poor people food. Hilarious. I don't know if you ever had any of those, Tom. What, bloody gums doesn't work for you? Come on, Gray Voices. Stone cereal. That's right, Najari. Welcome. Lucky Charms was disgusting, but I still ate it when I got chances to eat it, and Marshmallow Mayday is disgusting, but I still did the same. It's just something about sweetened cereal, right? Ooh, I got an idea. I like the idea of the crown being like part of its head. The Black Crown. Spooky. That is the spoops right there. It tells you, gang. He used to have Tasty O's. Do we have real food in the U.S.? Oh, Gray Voices. There is real food, but only if you can afford it. You always thought the U.S. had pretend food for the longest time. Everything looked too colorful. Oh, yeah. They dye everything. You also got to be scared of the foods that they don't dye. It's somewhere in the middle. Somewhat colorful. Those are the foods you can trust. Soil foods. You've even heard that chocolate, due to the ingredients they use over there, tastes like vomit to Europeans. I don't know about vomit, but it's certainly like some of our chocolate companies probably don't use very much chocolate in their chocolates. So there's that. Cry of Owl, welcome. Hi. I would say, yeah, with chocolate, I'm a gourmand. I'm all about like the best chocolates. So I will throw down for some good chocolate. Sometimes you still believe that. Yeah. We actually have good food if it's not processed food. That's true. We have what are basically food deserts. So in places where you have a little bit more poverty, there's not a lot of variety with the foods, and they're kind of, the cheapest foods that you can that the average person could afford are also like not food. They're barely classifiable as food. So it's like this awful kind of, I don't know, it's the whole system is messed up. You have companies that are, going into countries and patenting the seeds to their local flora, like quinoa, and then the locals who generally are able to buy that stuff for super cheap because it's the local staple can no longer afford it. And I mean, that just carries out and continues out all the way to, just any part of middle America, any country really. It's a terrible system. It's infuriating. It should be, that getting decent quality local foods should be pretty cheap, but the system's really broken that down. Distribution has broken that down because it's cheaper to not have. This is actually what happened with COVID a little bit, right? So there were worries about shortages with meats and dairies and things like that, and it was because our distribution system's all messed up because they don't want to pay to store anything. It's more cost effective to not store and ship. So they'll unify where their storage is at in one place that supports the entire country or sometimes multiple countries. And that, in terms of like sustainability, pricing, it just makes no sense. It's only good for the companies that are profiting off of those things. Sorry, we always end up talking about economics in here. This is definitely not an economics channel. I don't know if anybody even finds that stuff interesting. I do. It just, it's the things. It's my old man now. I'm the old guy with the pipe sitting there going, reading the newspaper. Unacceptable. You think the U.S. isn't a real country? It has to be fake. It's certainly like if you had written this country, especially, like the last maybe, I don't know, 30 years, if you'd written it as a novel or a TV series, they would have laughed at you and said, this is too unbelievable. Nobody could relate to this. This is why I'm leaning towards the idea that maybe that Hadron Collider actually worked and we've opened up the gates and now multiple realities are just pouring into each other and we live in a cartoon universe. It's possible. You don't know. God damn it. So you're famous. You were live over the top of my live feed at Surf's Up by accident. What, really? Aw, thanks. If you did that on purpose. If not, that sucks. You guys were playing, are you guys, wait, today's Thursday. Do you guys have a concert right there, over there today? Children here from inception are force-fed a bunch of processed foods, and that contributes to so many of our country's issues. It contributes to issues with foods and totally affects health. So the health of the youth. There's lots of studies that connect test results and things like that to really, really shitty diet. And I can personally, anecdotally attest to the fact that, if you're growing up and you're struggling with cash, holy shit, the food that you have available to you is terrible. It isn't qualifiable as food. For several years, we regularly got access. I mean, we do have some socialized systems for poor families, but we did the Meals on Wheels. We had, for holidays and things like that, they would send us these baskets with, the canned goods, those canned food drives that they do. Well, people actually get that stuff, and my family was one of those families. So we would get, 16 cans of garbanzo beans and weird, not quite spam, wannabe spam, things like that. But also, the government sends out actual state-funded food products. And I remember as a kid, we would get these things. We would get these cans that had a white label on them. They would be like these big chonky cans like this. It had a white label, and it would just be like a bold black outline of a pig. And like no words. That was it. Or a chicken. And then you would open it up. You'd open it up, peel back the top of the can, and inside was this gray pasty fluid with little nubblies floating around in it. And then boiling up from the bottom would be these big hunks of gray meat. And it didn't matter what the picture was on the white label, a chicken, a cow, a pig, whatever. Always gray, always tasted the same. It was super weird. And they also, I mean, you may have heard like the whole cartoony concept of government cheese, right? That really was a thing. And so we would get these bricks, and it would be like a brick like this big, and it would be sitting in wax paper, this kind of very, it looked like Velveeta, like a really soft kind of gushy cheese. And they would wrap up the sides with cardboard and then saran wrap the whole thing. So you would get this saran wrapped cardboarded thing. And when you cut into it, it was soft. It was soft and kind of, oh God, how to describe it? It's making me sick thinking about it. But it had like a plasticky, like a real soft plasticky feel to it. It tasted okay. And I mean, it went great with the gray meat. You know, it was a flavor combination. Two great tastes that taste great together, right? But I'm telling you, the whole system, it's messed up. That shit was disgusting, and I'm glad I don't have to eat it anymore. Your parents made you wear yours if you didn't eat it? Oh my God. Tried American chocolates, and your taste buds were so confused on what the chocolate tasted like because it did not quite have that chocolate taste, but it also still did. Yeah, they're definitely, what they're doing is they're trying to cut costs, so they don't want to use as many raw materials. Guaranteed. It was probably Hershey's or something like that. I don't like those brands of chocolates very much. They taste like chocolate. They melt technically, but they just don't have the right kind of bitterness. They hide it in sweetness. It could be related to your time-space experiments. Oh, Tom, just do the laundry. God damn it. You're ruining us all. You have no idea what could happen in the next years with this laundry avoidance you're doing. That's terrible. Don't do that. Sometimes it's better to remake the universe than to wake up from bed. Yeah, I suppose. I don't know. I refuse to accept it. Okay, we've lost our transparency quite a bit, so I'm going to go back. Actually, no, I'll finish out the painting of the figure for the most part. I like the airy sketchiness of it, so we'll keep that. But I'll finish that, making it solid, and then I'll add back in the light again to bring it back. Okay, so I'm doing something really silly here. I'm letting the fire over the crown dictate how the fur collar looks. And I don't want to do that. So I'm going to we're just going to paint out the fire for now. We might bring it back. We might not. We need a name for pig meat in a can. Eat. You're talking about the king. All right. So I just did the one thing I told Irina not to do, but I was blurring it for different reasons. I wasn't trying to make it wispy, I just didn't want it as dark. Do as I say, not as I do. Classic teaching / parenting. King Punays. Nice. How's it pronounced? Can you spell it out phonetically for us? Ponai? Ah. King Ponai. Okay. So then wait, it's Mayonai? Clear things up for me here. Would like a Bologna sandwich with Mayonai? Pawn is like Poon. Oh, Punai. You just got me to say something filthy on here, didn't you? I know what's going on. You guys are very tricksy. I can't trust you. It means bug. If you say so. I call shenanigans. They'll quote Bular in the back when you least expect it. Now, Surströmming, I feel like I've read that somewhere before. Oh, that's why. It's that crazy ass shark stuff, isn't it? That stank foods. Some of that was opened in, oh, it's herring. Somebody opened a tin of that in at my office at Sony on a dare. It was, it cleared out the office. Didn't get much work done that day. I can tell you that. Because I'm stanks. Google Translate told you? I don't trust it. I don't trust Google neither. You personally love the smell? Oh my god. Fair enough. I like spam. We all got our thing. Does it look like yesterday's bug? Yes, I can kind of see it. Yeah. Oh, you know what it is? It's that layering thing. You're right. We must away with that. Hmm. What can we do there to get rid of that? Oh no, I get that, Gray Voice. It wasn't subtle, but thank you for explaining it to me. I value you. Cipher. Polysyllabic punani. Yeah, why not? Sign us up for some of that. Mm. Bogrivi or Bogivery? Bogivery. Welcome. Thanks for the follow. Glad you could join us. Sorry for butchering your name there. Oh, you guys are so filthy. What would I do without you? Indeed, definitely perfect timing. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to the den of filth. Perfect timing. Oh, we saw that already. Yep. Bogivri. You said the third try, but I don't know which one it was. Do I have any spooky stories? I got hella spooky stories, gang. Faux show. You know what? I like that as it is. But what that means is to keep the crown. I'm trying to narrow down some spooky stories for you. It'll turn disgusting before it turns spooky. Well, thank you for the vote of confidence. Bogivry. Bogivry. Oh, okay. That's a cool name. Bogivry. I think it's important to get people's names right. Don't let people butcher your name. Anything supernatural gets bonus points. I mean, all the best spooky stories are a little supernatural, right? So I got one that took place where I'm living right now. I'm currently living sort of in the same, not the same household, but the same compound, the same land that I was on when I got out of high school, and the last place that I lived before going to college. It's a little less than an acre here. It's with this family that took me in right after I finished school. They knew that I was on the street. They took me in, put me up, learned me up some good stuff, and it's been basically, like, I see them as sort of adoptee family. That's what I just call them, is my adoptee family here. Anyway, I used to live in the main house. Right now I'm in sort of the guest house area. But in the main house, I had a tiny little room, and I mean, it was really tiny. Roughly the size, I'd say, of maybe 2 closets. It had a closet, which was basically the bed, and it was about the size of a twin bed mattress, and that's it. And then the main room of it, which was, I guess it was a little more than the closet, but not quite a bathroom in size. So it was very tiny, but it was cozy. I loved the hell out of that room. But it was right on the edge of a deck. So there's a deck out in the back, and the window of the room faced out at the deck. It's this old wood, creaky deck. And I remember this was like, I want to say 2009, 2008, something like that. Meters. So I had come home from a late night out hanging with friends. I believe maybe even with DJ Ultra Tom back then. And it was pretty late in the evening in October, late October, early November, I want to say. And we get these kind of really brisk, cold nights where the wind kind of rolls through the trees, and the trees that we have here are these, I think they're birch or something like that. And when the wind goes through the leaves, before they're going to fall, it gives you this kind of real, I don't know, it sounds like a kind of an ocean spooky sound, this right? So I was out there walking along in my boots and my trench coat, coming home from hanging out with friends, and this is good. I like this super long crown thing. And it's dark out. The property had only one light that kind of was in the center. It was almost like a street lamp, and so you could see a bit of the greenhouse, and you could see like the gravel that was right underneath the light, but that was it. And then the back end of the property is just like it's bush and trees. So I remember I was walking along on the gravel, crunch, 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 the wind is blowing, and off in the distance beyond this light, which is in the middle of the property, at the far end of the property near the fence, I heard this like weird noise. And it was like a kind of a goofy giggle. So it kind of went like a like this kind of sound. And so I stopped. I remember I stopped right there, crunch, 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 stop. And I sat and listened because I thought I completely imagined this. This awful, awful giggle. So I sat and I looked in the direction that it was coming. And already the hair on the back of my neck was like full tilt. I was creeped the hell out, I am not afraid to say. And I waited, and the wind was blowing. Silence. And then again. And it's like, holy shit, that was real. That really happened. I wasn't imagining that. So this requires a preface. When I was a kid, I used to get night terrors, like walking night terrors. So I would have dreams while I was awake. effectively. I'd be walking around and would hallucinate shit. I mean, basically that's what we're talking about, is kind of a sort of generalized hallucination. So I would have kind of really vivid dreams, and then they would be in the reality sometimes. So I thought that's what was going on. And I hadn't had one in at least a decade, maybe longer at this point. So it felt really weird. I didn't have the same kind of feelings that I had when I had night terrors as a kid, which involved kind of like a general feeling of fear, anxiety that kind of almost feels like it brings on the night terrors. So already uncomfortable, already fearful. I was happy. I was walking home, hanging out with my friends, had a good night, and in the distance, so I didn't think that it had been night terrors, but I considered it as a possibility. Proven wrong, because I stopped. I kind of like slapped myself a little bit, tried to wake up. Yeah, I'm here. I'm conscious. So I'm like, well, shit. Okay, time to go inside. Something is horrible out here. And right as I take my first step to start going towards the main house from the gravel driveway, I can see in the distance at the edge of the fence a pair of eyes glowing in the dark. And I was like, oh, that's great. Super great. It was about, they looked like it's all black back there, so I could not see any scale or anything like that, but there was definitely a pair of eyes. And then while I was watching the pair of eyes, more eyes started popping up. And I was like, oh no, this is happening. The gremlins are coming for Izzy right now. So I hot stepped it pretty damn fast, crunch, 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 to the main house. I got up on the deck, trying to walk quietly, figuring, no, I'm full on having night terrors right now, and I'm seeing gremlins. So I opened up the main door as quietly as I could, because I was known for coming in late and would wake people up. So I tried to be quiet. And I went into the bedroom that was facing out, and the window faced out to that same fence. So I was standing there taking off my jacket, I took off my shoes, and I was looking back towards the light, and the eyes were gone. I couldn't hear any giggling from inside. So no big deal. So I turn around and I take off my sweater, and I'm getting ready for bed. And I hear these scratching noises, like little claws on the deck. And I froze. And I remember turning around and looking into, so that the window that I had was it was sort of like a big, I'd say maybe 5-foot window by 3 feet, something like that. It was a wide window, and they had these reed sort of roll up draw curtains, so you couldn't see in. You could see out when it was light outside, but you couldn't see in, really. I mean, they basically stopped all light, but I could see out, and in the light of this street lamp in the middle of the property, I could see these forms standing on the deck. It was a group of coyotes, coyote, and they were standing there on the deck in bold as brass, looking right at me. So I'm behind effectively a wall. They could not see me. There's no way they could see me. They couldn't hear me. I wasn't moving. And all of them were just staring at me. Giggles. Fucking horrible. Horrible. So I sat down, like after going kind of shoo, go away. They left, sat down, and had a horrible, fitful, awful sleep. Yeah, dinner got away that night. So yeah, that was the night the coyotes came and giggled with me. And I ended up writing a story about that, the premise for a feature film built off of that, coyotes in the desert with their awful little giggles. Ugh. They are terrifying. Do they giggle? These ones did. That's all I know. That's all I know. Encountered them a lot when you lived in Cali and would run like at 5 a.m. Did they giggle? I realize now, when I've told that story numerous times, but the way I think about it is probably it sounded like giggling to me, but it was like they're little like yipping at each other. But in the wind, because the wind was blowing behind me and towards them, it must have been cutting the sound. But it was very unsettling sound. There was weird stuff in the woods across the way before they put the road through and built those new developments. Oh, where I'm at, Tom? Yeah. Oh, where we're at, there were all sorts of weird shit used to happen out here. I wouldn't say it was supernatural, but it was very weird. Also, we were regularly on various drugs and eating terrible foods, as I previously mentioned. So God knows what was real. I can't say. I dare not venture. Hyenas are huge and terrifying. I would not mess with hyenas. Maybe I can speak coyote. I'm a parcel coyote mouth. I don't know. Hyenas giggle. Maybe they escape from the zoo. Oh my God. Hyenas would definitely take me down. I got to see, when I was teaching, one of my first teaching gigs in person at a college was at Otis in LA. And we had a teacher there who taught life drawing and animal drawing class, Gary Garatz. You should give him a follow on Instagram. He's a cool guy and a great teacher. I think he actually has some animal drawing books out. But he was really cool guy, super nice to me, and he would invite me out. He'd made friends with the Angeles Crest Animal Sanctuary, which was basically a retirement sanctuary for actor animals. This was when I was working and living in LA, and we would get to go out there, on these field trips to go draw animals, and we would draw them. I mean, you'd be this far away from a tiger, they're behind a fence and everything, but like, you were right there on top of these things, and they would bring out the animals, and it was good for the animals because then they got to encounter people since they were raised around people, and it was an amazing program that they had, and what we did, like them allowing us to come and draw was like such a great gift for us, but also we would give money to donate to help them, fund everything. So it was this great relationship that Gary had set up, which was so good. And they had all sorts of animals. I remember, speaking of terrifying moments, one of the things that they had were a big collection of were primates. And there was a whole paddock for chimpanzees. And the paddock had it had chain link fencing. And then woven into the chain link fencing was that kind of plastic corrugated, roofing stuff, and that was meant to kind of obfuscate their view. It was clear enough that you could see their shadows, but that you couldn't really see the details of them. And they had this rule, like we had to walk past them to get over to the cat area, the big cats area, and they had bears too. I remember that. And there was a path that had been. There's the main it is a path that walks alongside this paddock, but where it's really worn is on the far side opposite where the chimps are. And I remember they had to reinforce the muddy ground with like planks of wood because people would only walk on that side. And the rule was, when we were walking past the chimps, you walk past fast, don't even look at the wall. And they would stand there like banging on this. So all you saw was the silhouettes of these chimpanzees, like full size, they can tear your face off monsters. It was terrifying, the sounds that they would make. But yeah, we'd get past them, and then we'd go and hang out with the tigers, and they had lions and cheetah. What else did they have? They had panthers. So they would pull them out, or we'd go to their paddocks and we would draw them, which was so cool. It was such an awesome opportunity. And I remember that it was a constant concern. We were so close to these animals that we were warned that when you're drawing them, be very careful. Keep your eye, one eye on the drawing, one eye on the cats. Because if the cat turns its back to you and it's close to the fence, there's a very good chance you're going to get sprayed. And cat spray is a horrible, horrible thing. Like cat pee. If you've ever been around cats and they've had an accident or they're one of those little vindictive bastards that pee on stuff, the smell is just horrendous. So big cats, it's even worse. I mean, it's like a violent, noxious smell. And they were prone to turning their backs on students, and there were tales of students getting sprayed. Thankfully, it never happened when I was there, but I'd heard stories about it happening to people that were there prior to me and people that were there after. And we're just talking kids sitting there with their sketchbook, la la la, not paying attention, and then sploosh, getting fire hosed with hot, angry cat urine. Yeah, welcome, new viewers. Hi, good to see you on. Anyway. So they did have a hyena there, so we got to see a hyena up close. That's why I thought of this story. But the paddock that they had it in, this hyena was sort of between. It was like between two big cats, and it had its own enclosure. So we were standing near that enclosure, obviously not too close. And the handlers came out, and they were doing the feeding and giving treats. So they gave the treats to the big cats, but the hyena, they gave a full size cow or maybe a bison femur. So like the head of the bone was like monstrous. The bone itself was like that big around, big as your skull, and this. The hyenas. All of these animals are trained. They're all trained, like highly trained animals. They were actors, so almost all of them had performed in movies, commercials, TV shows, and things like that. And then some of them were like weird, I got a mountain lion in my apartment kind of deal, because people collect crazy ass animals, especially in LA for some reason. It's kind of your Tiger King thing going on. Anyway, so this hyena was one of the trained ones, and they did a little bit of work with it. The hyena didn't quite sit, but it kind of like would go to a mark, and it would stand there, and it would pant and do stuff. And they pulled out this femur and set it down on the ground in front of it. Then they backed out and told the thing, go, whatever its go marker was. And the thing went and grabbed the femur, like this big around, in its mouth, and went pronk, and it just fell in two pieces, like instantly. It was like, oh my god. I will never mess with a hyena. Those things are scary as hell. It didn't do any giggling or anything. I think it's something they only do in a group, but that is the shit of nightmares. Beautiful animal. And what I liked about it was hyenas, especially up close, look like they're made of like 3 or 4 different animals and just kind of mushed together in a weird way. But they're so cool. And the power, the power was insane. Very impressive. There's all sorts of weird stuff about hyenas. You should look up or watch one of those animal shows about hyenas. They have some very interesting aspects to their sexual dimorphism, in particular, how they hunt. How their community, like their social systems work. It's very interesting. Just don't mess with them. Don't mess with hyenas. You saw a decapitated cherub sculpture in the graveyard up on Burnside that somehow became reattached weeks later. Well, that's horrifying. I remember that graveyard up on Burnside. That's where we went after graduation to watch the sunset and consider our futures. What nerds. Thankfully, I have not seen that cherub up there. I was up there not too long ago. Not the graveyard on Burnside, but the one on Skyline. And they have really good paths up there. I was thinking about taking a longboard up there one of these days. I don't know if that's uncouth. It's probably uncouth, but come on, smooth the pavement, guys. Someone has to do a GIF of that. A spray can. Yeah, the jaws on the hyenas are just insane. And if you look at their skull structure, you can see that the roots for where those muscles, the crunchy muscles, the masseters for closing their mouth with power. Holy crap. They're just terrifying. Hyenas can digest bones. I totally believe that. Kova can, so I believe a hyena could. Baby animals in general are cute. Oh, puppy hyenas. Oh yeah, they're super adorable. You don't like eyes, Cypher? Eyes are cute. They got some cuteness, although they do have the eyes we were talking about earlier, the Beksinski eyes. Eyes have those. So I'll give you that. Okay, eye babies are probably pretty cute, or pretty hideous. Nah, they're still cute. Remember one time when you were with a friend on your way back from class, there was a kitten being pulled violently from both ends by 2 stray dogs? What? Donkers. No. No, no, no. Oh, the Skyline one's good for fireworks? Nice. Oh, I'm sorry to hear about that, Tom. That's rough. Pigs can digest bones too. Yep. I wish I could do Bricktop's accent. His accent's so great. Snatch is a brilliant movie. Everybody should watch it. It's so good. Like butter. Too bad Hammy's not on Thug, so he can make fun of our shitty English accents. Well, mine, because I'm the only voice you hear right now, but I love upsetting him with a terrible Cockney accent. It's so entertaining. I realize just like almost all of my interactions are some kind of low-grade trolling. I am a horrible person. I mean, I'm not realizing this. I'm just admitting it. I still haven't seen The Gentleman. I gotta check that out. Serial, thank you for the follow. Don't read the above comments in which we discussed the texture of cereal. Yes, this is one grumpy ass ghost, I'm telling you. Oh man, I'm just now catching up on The Good Place. When it first came out, I was such a huge fan, and then I couldn't find any episodes online when I was living out on the boat. I think around season 4 or season 3. I think it was season 3. So I missed out on so much, and then I just recently got a Netflix account because now I'm back on land and I have internet. So I was like, yeah, this is something good to have. And I'm catching up on all these shows. Oh my god, it's so good. I forgot how great that show is. There's a whole bunch. I have a whole list now of things I need to watch. I just don't have time for. I want to watch Umbrella Academy for sure. That looks awesome. I don't know. What's the consensus on that one? There's so much good content now. Okay, we've gotten pretty dark here. Umbrella Academy is good. Oh, okay, good. You watched the first episode, then read the comics. I did that with oh god, what was that other comic book show that came out around that same time? It was also about an academy. I am totally spacing on the name. It's about like these kids that are in high school. They're training to be assassins or something. What was it called? Shit, I can't remember the name. Oh well. Deadly Class, that's it. You're right. Yep. I liked the comic. I didn't get very far on the TV show for the same reason. I just couldn't find the episodes. I can't believe they canceled Not Dangerous Minds. God damn it. Oh shit. Mind Hunter. Is that what it's called? Mind Hunters? I can't believe they canceled that one. That was shaping up to be such a great show. Umbrella Academy is better. Where do they stack compared to The Boys? Because that's my current favorite. When it comes to silly superhero-based TV. I'm doing on time. Two and a half hours. Let's say we got a little more time. And then I must away. The Boys is better than Umbrella Academy, which is better than Deadly Class. Okay. Oh, you love Umbrella Academy over The Boys, Cypher. Okay. Interesting. We have a disagreement here, gang. Oh man, that's funny. All right, I'll give Umbrella Academy a chance. I mean, the little descriptions and stuff on there, the synopsis looks awesome, so. I think I'm going to make this a little bit less of an obvious separation. Kind of like the crown. Like I just want it to feel like it's all part of the creature. No, I'm definitely getting some hiccups right now. Hopefully we don't get another crash. If we do, if it blue screens while we're on right now live, I think I will probably just leave the session at that because we did get a good chunk. So if it dies out, don't expect me to come back today. We'll be back at our normal time on Monday. That's only if it dies on me though. Okay, I'm using too much of the one brush, and it's kind of creating a weird vibrational looking blur, and I hate it. So we're getting rid of that one for a minute. And I'm going to try and soften some of those repetitive shapes. Save, don't crash. It's sort of like a king harpy or a queen harpy kind of thing now. Lukamu, thank you for the follow. Welcome. So glad you could join us today. Haven't seen Umbrella Academy yet. Avoided because of the marketing, made it look like a teenage show? Really? Huh. I haven't seen any of that. Got hooked on boys with the first gore scene. Me too. Oh, that's when I was like, what? And signed in. They had me by the first episode. I knew I'd watch the whole thing. That's fucking diabolical. You like the teenage shows too? Yeah, some are pretty good. Oh, you hated the comic? That's Warren Ellis, isn't it? I always liked Warren Ellis' stuff myself. Yep, saving file. Okay. I think that there's going to be enough left of this that we could probably, I think we could benefit from taking this and continuing it on Monday. Or if I get time this weekend, maybe I'll do a little rando stream. Because I think there's something here. It's kind of cool. I think this is probably an example of something that's a little bit more of an interim type thing, like it'll inspire something else. That's okay. It's certainly evolved a lot. I wouldn't say badger fur, but it could be. Getting a great sage type feel. Is that a reference to something specific that I don't know about? Or a sage is in like a figurehead soothsayer type person? Soothsayer. Well, I wouldn't say making references is necessarily cultured, because I've never been accused of being cultured, but I definitely do a lot of referential stuff. Oh, that's not at all the brush I picked. What the hell? Ah, just a wise old man. I see. Oh, goddamn. Oops. Sometimes the best images just make no sense at all. So why not? Let's just let it be weird and nonsensical. Would something come out of the crown hole? I have no idea. Probably just government cheese. This is where government cheese comes from. It goes that. You're welcome. Crown. Don't know what's happening at all. Fuck it. Why not? Well, he giggles like a coyote. This guy definitely does the coyote giggle. He just wanders through the castle, making his little giggle noises. So fun. Yeah, I was kind of getting that vibe too. Kind of a Skeksis podling. Yeah, good eye. I definitely was saying that when I started this, I was thinking of Dark Crystal and Brian Froud. So I think I've managed to stick with it enough that if you're seeing that, we got the right idea. It's also kind of got like a really messed up Dr. Seuss kind of thing going in my head. Oh, you filthy, filthy monsters. Love it. Going back to kind of our Beksinski origins also. So I'm kind of like just bringing a bunch of different textures and symbolisms together to make something new. Just ripping off from every place. That's how I do stuff. Now you know. Watching the potlins get drained of their essence is a turn on. Oh, we all definitely have a problem. Yeah, I guess that could technically be vor, right? Or some manner of vor. Maybe a little less visceral, like spiritual vor. Okay, we got a lot of... I'm going to have to kill some of these blacks. Let's do a... levels to knock back the darkest values just a touch. Oops. I think that's probably good for there. Can we bump up our lights just a touch? Yeah. Yeah. Save, don't crash. Yay. Okay. All right. I think that that's probably a good stopping point. We'll pick this up on Monday, see how we're feeling. We might change it completely after that. Who knows? I think it's still kind of fun. I got to get better about posting the stuff that we're doing in here together that I keep forgetting. So I'll try and post the bug tonight after I finish up in here, so you guys can take a look at it. If you're not following, I'm on Instagram and Twitter. At the Izzy Medrano on Instagram and Izzy Medrano on Twitter. I'm sure you've seen the little banner pop up like a million times because I have not fixed the timing for that. So, ha! Oh, you've been chatting. King falls in. Am I bringing back the translucence? Yes, I think I will, but we're going to save that for Monday. I'm going to leave my notes in there and remind me if I forget. But yeah, my plan is that this is definitely still going to be a ghost. I need to figure out the hands. The rest of it, maybe I'll do like a little floor or something, and I think I can do some more environmental rendering just to make it a little bit sharper. And I think we'll have kind of a fun little illustration here. Little goofy thing. It's Shrivel Kink. Wither Kink. Oh my goodness. Oh, Cypher. Such a dirty birdie. Thank you all. Awesome. Firoi Art. Hi, welcome. Unfortunately, you're just visiting as we're closing down. But yeah, kick on the follow, notifications, all that good stuff, and we'll see you. I'll be back on Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we'll finish up this painting. We'll have a good time. We'll chat. We'll tell some more spooky stories, maybe. Thank you all, gang. Let's see here. I think that's everything. Let's see if there's anybody worth... Let's see if we can do a raid. That's always kind of fun, right? I've been so fortunate to get a couple of raids this the last couple of sessions, so it would be really cool to do that for somebody else. If y'all were interested. I'm going to check and see if there's any artists on. I think that's the most important thing. Let's do this. I have to mute this as soon as it starts talking. Mute. Ah, no. Any recommendations for artists that you guys like? I am not seeing any of the artists that I follow are on. We might have to save it till next time. Chris Weber, thank you for the follow there at the end. Appreciate hanging out. Okay. Yep, no artists today. We will try it again on Monday. For those of you interested in practicing your artwork, check out the Discord link below. Join us. We're having fun chatting about art and giving each other crits and things like that. The following sort of ad, I guess you'd call it, that I do, ignore the Patreon related stuff because Patreon right now is shut down except for tip jar level. I will be announcing my plan for that, I think, within the next week or two. I need to figure out what the different patron tiers will be and what the rewards will be. If you want to voice any specific interests in how that might go, check out the Discord. We'll talk about it there. So yeah, thanks for hanging out. Hopefully you learned something, had some fun, enjoyed our filthy banter, and until next time, paint smart, paint sexy. I'm Izzy, a professional writer, concept artist, and illustrator. I've taught painting for a dozen years or so, on and offline. Many of your favorite illustrators and designers have studied with me or under me,